How and why are you motivated to be more productive at work? If you know that you will get a share of the productivity gains, will you make less mistakes, work more efficiently, and help your colleagues? Today, we're going to discuss one of the systems of management that organizations do to provide incentives based on performance. Gainsharing is a pay-for-performance system of management. It could be based on productivity, like whether you meet the deadlines. It could be based on spending, like the labor cost, the material cost. It could also be based on quality, like your customer service, percent rejects, safety records, etc. It requires participation and involvement of the people. It's a team-based approach. Organizations use a predetermined formula to measure performance and share the savings with all employees. The actual performance is typically compared to a baseline performance, which is based on the historical standard, to determine the amount of gains, and it's generally on a monthly basis. Many firms develop their own custom gain-sharing plans, but usually they're based on one of the following classic prototypes: Scalene plan, Rocker plan, or per share. The plans are similar for the way that the bonuses are calculated and the level of involvement are required for the employees. For instance, the base for savings for Scalene plan is on labor cost. For Rocker plan, it's based on labor cost as well as service and material cost. For per share, it emphasizes on the financial bonus of completing the production faster rather than on employee participation. Scalene plan was proposed in the 1930s and it's one of the most widely used gain-sharing plans. It is easily calculated, administered, and understood by the employees. It's based on the historical data of labor cost to SVOP, the sales value of production. And because it rewards labor saving, it's mostly appropriate for companies that have a high-touch labor component. Scalene ratio equals to labor cost divided by sales value of production. I would like to use an example to explain. Based on the historical data, the baseline for company A for the labor cost compared to the total sales value of production is 20%. So now we know the baseline Scalene ratio is 20%. And for last month, the value of production is $1.2 million and the payroll costed $210,000. What is the bonus pool then in this case? So first of all, we have to calculate the allowed payroll cost, which is to use the total sales value of production times the Scalene ratio, and that is $1.2 million times 20%, which equals to $240,000. That number is used to compare the actual payroll cost, which was $210,000. $30,000 will be our bonus pool. The Rocker plan is based on the ratio of labor cost to value added. So what is value added? It is defined as sales minus raw material and service cost. Because this plan utilizes a multi-factor formula, it is most appropriate for organizations that want to improve other variables, such as scrap reduction and energy consumption, in addition to labor. Since the Rocker plan attempts to account for increased value of sales due to the market factors and inflation and the cost of material and supply, theoretically, the inflationary and market effects are cancelled out, and the Rocker ratio equals to labor cost divided by the value added, which equals to sales minus raw material and service. Last one is per share. Per share measures the changes in the relationship between the output and the input, which is the time required to produce them. This plan is minimally affected by changed sales volumes, technology, and capital equipment, or price and wage increases. It focuses on sharing physical productivity gains with employees. I will use another example to explain per share. For instance, by the baseline of company B, they use 100 employees to produce 50,000 units over a period of 50 weeks. weeks, which equals to 200,000 hours in total that's needed to produce the 50,000 units. That is 200,000 divided by 50,000, which equals to 4 hours per unit. But in last month, 102 employees produced 1,300 units in 4,080 hours. The value of this new production is 1,300 units times 4 hours per unit, which equals to 5,200 hours. But they only used 4,080 hours. Therefore, they saved 1,120 hours. That's the bonus pool. Note that besides the formula, to implement the gain-sharing plans, the organization also needs an involvement participation system to empower the workers' input. Manufacturing, healthcare, distribution, service, public sector, and nonprofit organizations. So first of all, you have to conduct a readiness assessment. A readiness assessment can answer the important question is whether gain sharing fits within the organization. What are the requirements for a successful transition? Second, when you design the gain sharing programs, you have to use a cross-functional design team to develop the plan. It needs the involvement from various departments such as HR, training, finance, operations, and union. Next, you also have to consider the maintenance. Gain-sharing plans must be flexible enough to respond to changes in the market conditions. The last key task that the design team should tackle is clarifying maintenance roles and responsibilities. There are many advantages of using gain sharing. For instance, it can help achieve sustained improvement in key performance measures because the employees can link their bonus pay directly with the performance. Second, it can help employees to align what they want with the organization's goals. And third, it can provide great motivation. It can give the employees a sense of ownership and accountability. If you want to use gain sharing, it actually requires a participative management style. Also, it requires you to openly share your information so the employees know how they're doing. Also requires good measures of the performance, and it only works in a team-based situation, and it could lead to free rider issues. You also need to be aware that gains are not necessarily related to the profit of the organization because it's only based on certain performance. There are a lot of theory-based literature on gain sharing from the social psychological perspective, mainly on motivation theories. Researchers attempt to justify gain sharing plans based on participative management, expectancy theories, need theory, operation conditioning, social dilemma, equity and justice theory. There are also theories from organizational perspective, such as structural, contingency theory, social field theory, and theories from behavioral economic perspective, such as agency and prospect theory. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.